What if I told you that Commander Trip Tucker survived his apparent death in Star Trek Enterprise? Sounds interesting, right? Stick with me here. This adventure takes us into the future stories of Captain Jonathan Archer and the NX-01 Enterprise. With our lovely Lieutenant Jarvis having just finished her first warp speed binge of Star Trek Enterprise and updating the Trek Central Discord chat with a nostalgic trip down memory lane, you can see what I did there, it was a refreshing reminder of how much an impact the series and by extension the crew made, and still makes on the Star Trek universe the good,
It's been a long road,
the bad,
getting from there to here.
and the downright blasphemy series final that did us dirty.
End progress.
That's right, love or hate Star Trek Enterprise, you can't not love the fiercely loyal friend and dedicated Starfleet engineer that is Charles Trip Tucker III. Welcome to Trek Central, I'm your host Captain Jack, and let's get into it. But before we do warp into this video, if you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Star Trek universe. But as always, please let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, because if you're talking about Star Trek, then we want to hear about it. Okay, let's go. The final of Star Trek Enterprise was set in 2161, several years later than the previous episode, and takes place solely on the holodeck, in a program run by William Riker. It has us, like the rest of the fandom, in complete denial about its accuracy, given that they had to wrap up a series in a single 40-minute episode. So why not do it heroically, if not senselessly, kill off the beloved engineer? Because they hadn't had the shock horror of killing off a series regular beyond the typical reset button episode or organ harvest clone. The incident came about when the Enterprise took a detour to help their on-off Andorian ally, Shran, whose daughter had been captured. The ship was boarded during the rescue mission, and Trip selflessly risked his life to stop the boarding party by blowing out a plasma junction. At first he survived, though critically injured, and shortly thereafter died in sickbay. I'm here to tell you that episode is wrong. We know Riker likes to get down and dirty any chance he got before he married Deanna Troi. Why do you think he's there? To figure out the best way to dig himself out of a 12-year-old hole of lies, deceit, and loyalty to a former commanding officer, Eric Pressman. And obviously come clean to Jean-Luc Picard at the same time. So what better way to do it than run a holodeck program to figure out from the NX-01 crew what it means to be loyal and not lie, unless it's for a good cause. And in this case, keeping Trip's death a secret while he's off doing even more than good than before. And covered up with selfless sacrifice for the good of the crew and the future of the Federation. I mean, let's look at this. Unsatisfied with his death, William Shatner retconned the greatly exaggerated passing of Captain James Tiberius Kirk on the bridge of Iridium 3. Therefore, unsatisfied with his death, the Trek fanbase took it upon themselves to retcon that failed attempt at making grown men cry, refusing to acknowledge that program's existence to give Trip the justice his character deserved. Now heads up, we're going to be diving into beta canon here, because arguing with what's alpha canon is a pain in the ass. So I respectfully ask you to bear with us here. Just an FYI, in case you are new here, beta canon is Star Trek story content told through books, comics, video games, and more. Trip's death was faked and classified in 2155, not too long before the creation of the Coalition of Planets, a precursor to the United Federation of Planets. So why is his death shown to have happened in 2161, right before the decommissioning of the NX-01 and the creation of a Federation Charter? In the 25th century, his files were declassified, and it came to light that he was recruited by a rogue agent of Section 31, which of course is the Starfleet equivalent of the Tal Shiar or the Obsidian Order. In Trip's case, he underwent significant reconstructive surgery on Agion to appear Romulan, in order to infiltrate behind the lines of the Romulan Star Empire to sabotage their Warp 7 engine project. This mission also marked the first human to see the true appearance of the Romulan people and realise their relationship with the Vulcans. Section 31 kept the information secret for fear that the fragile coalition would shatter should the ancestry between the two cousin species be discovered. Trip fled Romulan space in an escape pod, following a scuffle on board a ship he was after collecting intelligence on the Romulans before the war broke out in 2156. He was picked up near the Tesla Oroku star system by the Vulcan freighter Kirin Fintar, captained by Tavran. Also on board was Yacha, an agent of Vashar, the Vulcan security directorate. Before Trip assumed the identity of Yacha's longtime acquaintance, Sodok, in the typical manner for success of a mission, it's hinging on a slim chance that no one actually knows the real Sodok. Trip witnessed Yacha perform a mind meld on Terex, a Romulan centurion. Left with no memory of who he was, after escaping an exploding base on Battle 3 to make him believe he was actually a Vulcan. Trip, or Sodok depending which way you want to look at it, Yachi and Terex were able to destroy the shipyard at Achialia, a facility where the Warp 7 engine was being built. The trio travel to Vulcan, where they get caught up into T'Pol's investigation of T'Pau's corrupt government. At the conclusion, Trip wanted to return to Enterprise with T'Pol, though decided it would be better to remain with Terex and Yashar to ensure he didn't lapse into old Romulan self, maintained by regular mind melds. Malcolm Reed and T'Pol had previously attempted to rescue Trip from the base at Rattle 3, clearly in the know about his whereabouts. Perhaps under the penalty of treason NDA type deal, the crew of a Pike Enterprise were held with Discovery.
Under penalty of treason.
In 2157, Terex left Vulcan shortly after the bombing of Mount Salea. Security Minister, Sealog, ordered the arrest of Trip's Vulcan associates, though tasked him with tracking Terex, owing to his skedaddling, raising some eyebrows. After 9 months of searching, Trip's ship, the Kalayan, was attacked by Admiral Veldor's forces and they captured him. Veldor had the ship repaired and he sent his Tal Shiar contact, Colonel Tulak, back out with Tucker to find Elaj Ormin, a political group with aspirations for power and sought to control the Romulan Star Empire. They also had a facility in the Karaya system, building Warp 7 capable ships. Of course, all was fought by Trip and Colonel Tulula because the good guys, ? I know this video is going on a little bit here, but stick with me, it's an interesting story. During said journey, their ship was damaged in an attack from Hakoan, leaving them without communications or warp because it can't be too easy. They were able to MacGyver assist them to reach near light speeds to reach their destination. But due to time dilation, what was only 2 weeks for them was 2 years to the outside world. Trip was able to play a vital role in the Battle of Sharon, which took place in 2160, fitting with his 2-year travelling at near light speed. Before the battle, again he was picked up by Admiral Valdor for execution. Colonel Tallulah took the order on herself, but instead of carrying it out, revealed herself as an undercover Vulcan. Trip was able to get a message to his former captain, Jonathan Archer, with information on the Romulan staging area in the 83 Leonis B star system, for the invasion of Earth and other members of a coalition of planets. Instead of execution, Tallulah put him in an escape pod with a beacon to be found and rescued. After his years of espionage and mortal danger, he understandably developed severe paranoia and believed the beacon was in fact a bomb. Eventually found and beamed out, it felt to him as though the so-called bomb had exploded. It was then he realised he couldn't return to his old life. Trip Tucker's physical alterations were reversed following the conclusion of the Romulan-Earth War, and once again gave aid to Section 31 by infiltrating a Terra Prime cell, preventing him from carrying out terrorist activities. Archer became uncomfortable with Trip's involvement in the shady agency, and more than once tried to convince his longtime friend to leave, and let his family know he was still alive. Trip felt that he had changed too much in the wrong direction. He didn't wish for his family to see who and what he'd become. Whilst he continued to be involved with Section 31 for many years, he finally decided he could no longer be involved with them. During the Ware Crisis, which spanned the better part of 2165, which a mysterious automated technology called Ware was a target for many, most of the opposition to the Federation came across wanted to either seize or destroy the Ware, while under the alias of Philip Collier, he learned that Section 31 provided the Klingon Defense Force with the means to achieve the latter, which led to the decimation, dissolution, and partial annexation of a peaceful partnership of civilizations. He had gotten involved in the crisis with the knowledge that the medical technology could repair the damage to Malcolm Reed's reproductive system, caused by the prolonged usage of transporters. Mr. Reed refused to take advantage of the system for his own benefit, which cost the lives of so many species throughout the quadrant. By 2186, Trip had managed to escape the agency by, how would you know it, faking the death of an alias. This time around, he assumed the name Michael Kenmore and had undergone more cosmetic changes to ensure his anonymity. He moved to Vulcan with T'Pol and had 2 children, Tamir and Lorian, but later named for his son from an alternate future.
Now the ears, those are your mother's.
Does Michael Kenmore sound familiar? That was of course a character Connor Trinneer played in Stargate Atlantis, a wraith turned human gone hybrid, persecuted by those who tried to humanize him and those who tried to return to. Still known to be alive in 2238, he visited Starfleet War Memorial for silent reflection, which was made impossible by young James and Samuel Kirk. Not surprising, considering their bickering over who would have made their dad more proud. Unofficially, Trip had a hand in the Constitution-class starship by leaving notes in the margins for the ship plans during the design phase. Okay, you're still on course with me here, I know it's been a long one. Here's what's thought as to why the details surrounding his death aboard Enterprise have been altered. This was likely to cover up some more of the questionable missions and actions taken aboard the time when he was working Section 31. While yes, it was all in the greater interest of the Coalition and later Federation, but in regular uniform, it wouldn't have been accepted for a Starfleet officer. Maybe it was in a way of thanking him for his services, such as playing a pivotal role in pretty much every aspect of the history of the NX-01 and much more, resulting in his records being changed to give him more of a valiant death, as played out on the holodeck program. It paints him in a better light, and we're well aware it isn't uncommon to cover up involvements with Section 31. While our previous version of his efforts to negate Trip's death, it was mentioned that he could reappear in the Section 31 series, now changed to a long trek equivalent of Suicide Squad, and the main cast has mostly if not all been announced. Conor Trinneer has previously stated that he would love to return to the role, and that he did in a non-canonical short trek, but would he return for more? Who knows. With more recent announcements from 2024's San Diego Comic-Con, such as Robert Picardo and Tig Notaro returning in the Starfleet Academy series,
You know, you really should keep a personal log. Why bore others needlessly?
I'd shake your hand, but I'm up to my elbow in Tellarite brain.
he could well appear there, somehow, some way. Not likely, but we can still live and dream. He could still appear in Strange New Worlds. Unlikely, but it is wishful thinking. What's all of your thoughts on Trip's life after Enterprise and his apparent involvement with Section 31? Is Beta Canon a satisfying enough way for his story to continue, or would you like for him to return again in some capacity?
Here's to the next generation.
If you want to keep up to date on the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server. For now, I've been Jack, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time. Live long and prosper my friends, goodbye.